today our virtual panel discussion will be with three panelists on the topic of experience of online EFL learning and teaching, and this will be in the main room. So we have Ndeye Kumbabaro from Senegal, Loveline Boutiaga from Cameroon, and Kristen Compaina who's a virtual educator, and her project is in the Democratic Republic of Congo. So we're very happy to have the three of them here today. And we also have a video from oops, sorry, let me stop sharing my screen. We also have a video from Tim Collins, who could not be here today, and so he will be sharing information about this panel. After this, I will also provide a biography for each of the three panelists. Yeah, so can we share the video, please, from Tim? Okay, and while we're doing that, I'm going to share the biographies of the three panelists as we're getting our video up. So let me do that. All right, just a moment, please. Okay. Okay, so I will start with Ndeye Kumbabaro. Ndeye Kumbabaro is an ESL teacher at Karang High School, Karang Fatick in Senegal. She has been teaching for 14 years and has been a presenter at Africa Alta since 2021. She is a member of ATES, Association for Teachers of English in Senegal, of Africa Alta, and TESOL International. She has presented at multiple conferences, ATES since 2016, Africa Alta First Cohort Virtual Conference in 2021, and West Africa TESOL in 2021 and 2022. She likes participating in professional development opportunities to learn from others and share her experiences. Welcome, Ndeye Kumba. Next is Loveline. Loveline Boutiaga is a seasoned professional teacher of English and French with over 16 years of experience. She is a TLF certified and holds a master's in education in bilingual letters. Loveline is also an alumni of the Fulbright Teaching Excellence Achievement for the Fall 2022 program at the University of Arkansas, a freelance translator, and a certified master trainer of the Digital Teacher by UNESCO NGEIP. As a digital literacy advocate, Loveline has participated in and also carried out several training workshops on the use of digital technology in education, empowering teachers and students alike with the knowledge and skills to leverage digital tools effectively for enhanced learning experiences. Loveline firmly believes that the right use of technology makes teaching and learning more engaging and effective. And finally, we have Kristen. Kristen, after taking an MA in English at the University of California, Davis, Kristen Compaina received teaching certificate and a diploma to teach EFL. Over the past 30 years, she has taught in a variety of language schools and universities, primarily based in Portugal, but also in Vietnam and the US. She is thrilled to be returning for a second time to the English language programs as a virtual educator in the Congo DRC. So I would like to welcome all of you here. And thank you very much. We're going to listen to Tim's video.
Hey everyone, it's a pleasure to be with you here today to open our panel discussion on the experience of online learning, teaching, and professional development. And to start off, I'd like to welcome my three co-panelists. Ndeye Kumbabaro, English teacher at Karang High School, Karang Fatick, Senegal. Loveline Boutiaga, who is an English-French language teacher at a government high school Bolifamba, Buea, Cameroon, and Kristen Campagna, an English teacher from the United States, affiliated with the University of Porto in Portugal, who teaches in our popular virtual English classes in Kinshasa, and last year in Lubumbashi, Goma, and Kinshasa. As you know, technology lets us do all sorts of things that we couldn't otherwise do. And as you learned from my welcome on Friday, I'm traveling right now, or should be traveling, to Lusaka. By recording these remarks, I can still participate in this panel. And by purchasing a pass, I may even be able to watch this presentation on Facebook from the airplane. And if it works, I will send you a wave. When we were planning this technology-based conference, which was developed by committee members from among the 25 African countries in the 2 RILA regions, I thought that it would be valuable to take some time to reflect on technology in education, and more broadly on technology in learning, and in all the different ways that we encounter it. This is simply because this meeting is possible only because of technology. And after all, within my own life, I've heard people say things like, you can't learn with a computer. An online class can't be as good as a real one. Or you can't learn anything on a mobile phone. Yet all of us have today done all of those things. My experience with online learning has included both learning experiences, teaching experiences, and the development of learning and teaching resources. Today, I'd like to reflect on the first online course I ever took and some of the learning lessons from it. This course was taught by a faculty member of the University of Wisconsin. University of Wisconsin is a big famous university in the northern United States. I was a professor at another university at that time, and my university had just made the decision that we were going to put all of our courses for English teacher professional development online. I was really excited about that because I was a proponent of online learning, but not all my colleagues were. And I decided that I had better learn more about online learning if I was going to lead this effort. There were many things I did to prepare. I talked to experts, I read articles, and I reviewed online courses of different types, and a lot more. But the best thing I did was to try it myself. Why? If I was going to ask my students to learn in this way, I'd better be sure it works. And what better way than to try it myself? The course that I took was very simple. It was an 8-week course about how to write items for an English test given in many U.S. states. If I took it, I could possibly get a job afterwards writing items for the test. So I was motivated. I was also motivated because I wanted to learn more about this test, because we prepared our teachers to prepare their language learners to take this test. So what did I learn from taking this online course? First, I was amazed at how much I learned. Over 8 weeks, I really learned a lot from the material, from the discussions, from the homework activities, from my professor's feedback, and from my classmates. And all of this was delivered online. Second, I was impressed with the relations I developed with the other students and with my teacher. Even though we discussed in chat and voice, and not voice, I really got a good sense of my classmates and my teacher and their personalities, and even formed bonds with them. Third, I was surprised at the flexibility that online learning offered. For example, we didn't have to wait for a late student because they could read back in chat. That was a real game changer. I'd never thought about that flexibility before. Fourth, I was impressed with the quality of our work. We all got to read the test items we developed in our assignments on the final culminating lesson day, and I was really impressed with the final projects of every student in class. And many of our projects, including mine, were good enough to be actually used in the real test. Since then, I've implemented many online learning experiences, including helping support this year's and last year's conferences, and helping with the virtual educator program Kristen will be reporting on. I'm looking forward to hearing from my co-presenters on their experiences. And yes, I'm going to be able to watch this. Even if I can't watch it from my plane, I'll be able to watch it from the Facebook's live stream. So, thanks to everyone for attending, and thanks to my co-presenters.
Thank you very much, Tim, for sharing this. I really appreciate it.
Yes, so we are going to have our first panelist who is available. Loveland, would you like to have the floor and share your experiences? Thank you.
Thank you, Leah. Thank you, everybody. My experience with online learning started in a very, sorry, yeah. All right, I thought I was muted. So, just like Colin said, if something triggered him, something pushed him to learn those digital tools that made him to discover the essence of the tool. So, personally, what pushed me into learning digital tools to use in my class were two things. The first thing is that from 2016, in Cameroon, we've been experiencing what we call the Anglophone crisis, and it affected the area where my school is. So our schools were closed down for 2 years. We didn't have classes, so we couldn't stay in touch with our students. We couldn't communicate with our students and so on. So we were not prepared for that. And then we had those challenges because we did not foresee that something like this would happen someday. And then shortly after 2019, COVID struck. And when COVID came, we were still not prepared for this. And as a teacher of examination classes, I had challenges trying to prepare my students in the examination class to write their GCE examination. So I had to come up with strategies on what to do, because actually I'd been learning some skills with technology, but I didn't take them seriously, and I didn't think about online teaching. At that moment, the only online platform that I could use to access my student was WhatsApp. Because most of them have that in their phones and they easily use it at home. So that was the only way. But then how could I even prepare my notes? How could I share videos? How could I do things? That was another challenge. So I started working on that and taking courses for that. And then I attended a course called Instructional Technology for Educators here in Cameroon. And then 2022, I found myself in the US. In the US, my classmates from around the world, I realized how versatile, how good they were in using technology. And I look back at where I was coming and the challenges that we were facing. And I asked myself, why were we not using technology like this? Why can't we upgrade ourselves like teachers? Why was I so laid back when it came to technology? So when I returned to Cameroon, it's been a year, and I've been working on that seriously. I've taken online classes. I attended the Mohammed Gandhi the program on digital teacher. I did the course. And then I also went ahead to do the master trainer, and I became qualified for that. But that didn't limit me, because that was only a 5-week course. And you could do it online and you leave it there. Nobody cares what you've done with it. But I took it upon myself to learn the different tools that we have been taught there. Take one tool and practice, take one tool and practice. And that is how gradually I came to master different digital tools, and I could now use it to teach my students online in case of anything. However, the challenge has been this: my school is not having the opportunity for the ICT tools that you can use in your classroom. The school where I teach, we don't have like a good technology lab, for a digital lab where you can carry your students and carry on classes. And they also come also in a rural environment where most students don't have those gadgets, the devices where you can reach out to them online regularly as such. So am I supposed to just stay back and not use the technology? I told myself that no, I need to be set, I need to be upgraded, I need to be where other teachers are. I shouldn't just stay back. I shouldn't just wait because, okay, yeah, they don't use it in my school. Okay, there's no opportunity around me. What did I do? I took my time. After learning these different strategies, I decided to come up with my own platform to teach English language online. After, first of all, I've been teaching with other schools online, international organizations. Then I said, but I could also do this myself. So I created my online school called English with Loveline. I've been teaching English language there for some months now. And there I am able to put into practice all this technology that I've learned. I teach my students using Google Meet. We use the whiteboards. I chose Google Meet because, of course, it's more convenient for me, given that I will not be able to pay Zoom for longer hours for the premium version regularly. So I went in for Google Meet, and also given that I have a Google account, I can then have access to other Google apps like the Google Classroom. I can have access to the Google Drive where I can save my work with my students. I could always share my classroom with my students, and then make sure that I put into practice all of this. And in the course of learning this, I have mastered so much when it comes to digital technology. And I've realized that teachers need to upgrade themselves. We may not have the environment may not be convenient enough for us to do it, but we should not limit ourselves. Because what if there's another COVID? What if there's another political crisis? What if our students, we cannot have access to our students? What if you cannot make it to school someday because maybe you are ill or something? How do you reach out to your students? So there are so many what ifs that I've been struggling to answer personally. And so I took upon myself that self-discipline. I took upon myself that self-directed learning, and I invested in studying so many online tools, which I believe are very useful for me to teach, or use to teach my students to be able to reach out to as many people as possible in my country, across the world, and I've been having students from all over. So this is my little experience when it comes to online learning and teaching of English language.
Thank you so much, Loveline, and it's so amazing, so inspiring that you've done all of these amazing,
You've created your own online school,
and you've been so invested in your community and in supporting people and supporting them through education and helping them to gain that knowledge. And I've seen you on LinkedIn, the way that you share tips and you share experiences, and that is so great. It is a great way of connecting with people and of providing all those tools, because as we know, as you said, there are when technology is not accessible, or when we're in places where it's limited, it can be very, very difficult. So you are doing such tremendous work. So thank you so much. Yes, and so we'll have time to ask Lovely more questions afterwards, but we're now going to move yes, and definitely with Google Meet to the next speaker. Kumba, are you there? Yes, all right. Go ahead, Kumba.
Hello everyone. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Leah, for giving me this opportunity to attend this panel. I am pleased to be part of this panel in order to talk about my experience, my 2 years experience in WACATEC as a presenter, and my experience this year as a moderator and a helping hand. Okay, it all started in 2021. After the 2022 conference, when we had participated at this conference in 2022. So we were asked to join a group, WhatsApp group created by Leah in 2021 called West Africa TISO. And in West Africa TISO, when we joined, it was a community. We share practices, we share everything that is related to teaching. And we were asked to choose a topic that interested us when we attended the TISO 22. So I am Hujangom, my lovely sister, an ELT here in Senegal. So we had chosen one presentation about engaging the disengaged student from Gina Roads. And when we chose that topic, they asked us to present it this time, following different steps, but in our context, which is Senegal. So this is what we did, and it was a real success. It was a big success. We knew that what we did is great because knowing that English is a language, it is not our mother tongue here in Senegal. So we teach it, but sometimes we can have students that live from this language. So how can we do from our topic, engaging the disengaged, to pull them back to be interested in the topic is something that we should do every day. So my second experience was, and from that conference, the first one, we learned a lot. We learned many practices from many people, many topics from many countries in West Africa, and also we know many people from those countries. We collaborate with them. We share practices that can help us in our everyday teaching. So the second conference, the second one, my experience is I had an experience as a presenter, but also I was a member of an organizing committee. So I was, as I am doing like this, I was in the session committee. So in this committee, before we start the work, we were trained about the use of Zoom, and also, as we know, before being a presenter, we have some practices that we used to learn, which is how to write abstract, how to choose a topic, etc. So this is what we did, and also in this conference, we were taught how to be a moderator, how to use the tool that can help you when presenting. And after that, the day of the conference, we did many things before, and the day we present our work by following all what is necessary in order to gain people confidence. Because if we do something that is not interested, they won't come. But everything which is done in WACATEC is something very interesting. I'm telling you, I learned a lot. So after having presented, my topic was at the second conference, teaching critical thinking through PBL, project-based learning. And we know that at the moment, we need some skills. We need to equip our students with those skills to help them be productive in the real life. Because everything that is learned in class, we want our students to practice this, to share it with other people outside the classroom. And after that, we also share again with other people who were not in the first conference. Like I acquainted with many people over there. So we share practices, we share many things, and then they explain many other programs to us, like Mohammed Gandhi's teacher training program, which I did also, and it was interesting, full of learning. So I can say that WACATEC is a place to improve. We must be there to improve. We must attend to improve, because we should not limit ourselves to teaching going home. No. So we should, as teachers, renew, update ourselves in order to teach correctly, in order to help our students have knowledge. Not knowledge like coming in class teaching grammar or vocabulary, but we must add other things. As we are in the 21st century now, there are other skills that people should discover and learn. This is important. So this is what we can do in WACATEC through the conferences as today. I have learned a lot with student video-based activities. So people can practice this. They can use this in their classroom in order to bring some salt in their classroom, as they say, to very activity, as they said that variety is the spice of teaching, not life, but teaching also. So how to vary? We have to join the others in their practices, conferences, the webinars. CPD is a must for all of us. It is a must. Don't say I do not have time. Sometimes I am in my corner, using my mobile phone. I must use my mobile phone. Don't say that I cannot learn from my mobile phone. I can do many things with my mobile phone. Some teachers can. Right now, I met some teachers. I told them that I have a conference. They say, you conference. What is it about? So I explain, and I keep on explaining, and I will keep on explaining because I know that we do not have enough. We have to learn as teachers. We have to update ourselves. And really, I really like what we are doing. Putting together many people from different parts of the world, sharing with them. It is important. It is interesting. So I am encouraging, calling many people, all the teachers from West Africa, from the other part of the world to join us. We are not playing, but we are learning. We want to make education extraordinary, if I may say so. So really, I like it. Thank you so much. CPD is priceless. What we are doing is priceless. Yes, it is priceless. So join us, join people, and practice CPD. CPD is good. So what I knew in the past years when I was starting, I can say that I know more and more, many things about what I'm doing. I learned many things from Leia, from the others, from the Willow. They are always here to encourage us, and thank you so much. We are really happy to be here, and we have many things to say, but let us stop here, and maybe they will complete after. Thank you so much, Love Line. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow, Ndai Kumba, what an inspiring message, and what a great way. And you, both of you should see all the great comments in the chat. They really are inspired by your comments and by the fact that you have learned so much in the last few years. I've had the honor of working with you, and I've seen how you've gained all of these skills in organizing a virtual conference, and I love that you're really encouraging people, even though they say no, I can't. You're saying yes, you can. I've done it. I am proof. So it's wonderful to see that you're continuing to inspire your colleagues and saying how these opportunities allow you to connect with members from all over the continent and also all over the world. So a truly inspiring words. Thank you so much, Ndai Kumba. And last but not least, we have Kristen. Please, the floor is yours.
Hi everybody, good afternoon. I'm going to share a presentation to kind of guide me along. So I'd like to talk about the work that I've been doing, the teaching that I've been doing in the DRC as a virtual educator for the English language programs. And so this is my second project. Last year, I worked in Kinshasa, in Goma, and Lubumbashi, so 3 different centers over a 6-month period, teaching online. So each class had 2 hours, and then there was like an extra hour, sort of as a conference hour to teach students or to just talk to students. Like office hours, but where students would bring questions, and it would give me a chance to get to know them a little better. Because in the online setting, there are a lot of challenges as we've been all hearing about and talking about today. And so now the second project that I'm doing is in Kinshasa. Again, going back to Kinshasa, and this project will be until March. So basically, I'd just like to kind of show some of the highlights that have come out of my experience. And what I'm going to do is show some sample lesson materials and some of the topics that I addressed, and then also show some photos that I took while teaching online to kind of give a sense of what the scenario actually looks like. And then some samples of student work and different ways that I managed to collate it. So some of the topics that I found were most effective and interesting with the students were storytelling. Always the point was to try to get the students to tell their own stories and to get the students to be able to talk about their lives, about their backgrounds, about themselves, using English. So storytelling is always a really good place to start. Also, we did a lot of pronunciation work in order to plan for the next project. So one of the lessons, and this is a lesson that I just did the other day, was making metaphors. And so in this, we look at some metaphors, some very common metaphors in English, metaphors and similes, and looking at how they are used to convey meaning. So this is kind of a grammar lesson at the beginning where we review some comparative forms. And then we talked about some similes, things like strong as an ox and proud as a peacock. And I let the students discuss them and discuss what they meant, discuss if they have the same metaphors and similes in their own languages. And then that kind of led into a creative writing task. Another lesson that I did was a lesson, well, this is what I mentioned at the beginning, so with storytelling and the anecdotes, these were some topics that I gave them to choose from. I gave them some input at the beginning so that they would have a sense of how long their story might be, or if it was inspiring in any way to them, a model that they could work with, using the first person, using past simple. And these were some of the topics that they chose from. Another lesson, this was using a song. So I found that in terms of the equipment that I had and that the students had, and that because the students, the way I'm teaching them is they're in the classroom and sitting around a table like a traditional classroom setting, whereas I am coming to them from kind of like a video screen, so, or on Zoom. So they're not actually at their own individual computers. And so I used this song, Lean on Me by Bill Withers, and we did some gap fills, and then we did the karaoke version where they could sing the song. They could also then take the words, the rhyming sounds and rhyming words from the song and make their own songs and own poems, and that actually worked really well, and I got some really nice work, which I'm going to show in a minute or so. Another lesson is asking questions to get them to describe their country. So here I've got the questions, but I've got some of the key words all as a jumble, so they had to work out what the words are, and then answer the questions. This is a good way to get them to tell me a little bit about where they're coming from, and to use that as practice to describe their country, describe the wildlife, describe the natural resources, describe the climate, the vegetation. And a good way for me to be able to feed them vocabulary. Most of these students already have a great deal of vocabulary, the ones that I'm working with in Kinshasa in particular. And so this is the lesson on the final reflections. So these are some questions that I got them to talk about and had them think about them on their own individually, and then hear their feedback as a group. So things that they did really well on the course, what they thought were their strong points, what they might have done differently if they could do the course again, what kinds of resources, because over the 6-month period that I had fed them a lot of different resources and showed them a lot of different places where they could go, and found also in the sort of the after class office hours that was one of the main questions students had, was what kind of resources are there out there? What can I access? The internet is full of resources, and sometimes students just kind of need some guidance as to where to go, because not all the resources might be appropriate or useful. And then I got a sense of their favorite topics and their least favorite topics. So I'm just going to show a couple photos of the action from the field. And so this was in Goma. This group of students was a younger student group, that mostly like high school students or early college age students, and they're a real tight knit community. And we just had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with them. This is them at work. In the classroom. This is kind of like what it looks like. I think a lot of times people are wondering, some of the new teachers who are coming into this program are kind of wondering, what resources do they have? Are they at their own computers? Are they, are they sitting in rows in a classroom? How is the situation organized? And so this is a shot on the class and how they're working together. This is a view of the Kinshasa classroom, which is quite different student body. These are sort of more older students, generally, university students and professionals. And this was the Lubumbashi classroom. This is another shot. So this is an example of how I would maybe elicit from the students. I had them actually writing questions, and so I could show them my whiteboard, and then as they would tell me the questions, I could write them down. And if I was writing it wrong, they would say, no, it's like this, it's like that. And so there was a lot of kind of back and forth. I found that was a really good way to get feedback from them, because I couldn't always hear everybody. The mics pick up the people in the front, not necessarily people in the back, and sometimes there's distortion, sometimes the connection is finicky. So this was a good way for me to get feedback, as well as for a good way for us to communicate through writing. So some other ways that I managed to get from the students feedback and to sort of access to know what they were thinking is, I got. This is an example of a student who didn't have a cell phone, didn't have a computer, but he did the homework. He wanted to have some feedback, and so the coordinator took a photo on his phone and sent it to me through WhatsApp. As I was hearing other people mention previously in the conference, the WhatsApp is like the go-to method, I found, because if they're not working on a computer, if they don't have access to a computer, they do have a cell phone usually, and they can get somewhere where they have internet, and they can send any variety of things. I've had students send audio recordings, and it's just a wonderful way to see. To see their work and their ability to know how to address their needs. This was taken by a student in Kinshasa just recently. We were doing an itinerary, and he just took a photo of what was on his notebook, because that was one of the other frustrations, is not in a classroom where you can walk around the room and you can look over students' shoulders and look at what they're writing and see what's happening there, see what they're thinking. You have no way to know that, and so this student was very ingenuously just took a photo and sent it to me right away. Within the minute I was looking at his notebook. This was another way. This was just the other day, working with them when we were making the metaphors. And there were 3 students in the classroom, and I just had it on the screen. I was just, as they were speaking, I was writing down their ideas on the screen, and then again they could see what I was doing, and then they can take a picture of it, I can take a picture of it, and we have a record of it to keep for future study or adding to it. Another way to get the student ID, this was an email through email. So I also set up an email account for the students, and sometimes they'll send emails. I find that's not really for everybody, but sometimes students will send emails, and then they can send documents like this. This is another itinerary that we were doing on an activity of visiting Kinshasa. And then the last thing that I would like to show is I collated, I collected and collated and then made into a little booklet my students' work from the 3 centers last time. And I put it into a Canva. So I'm going to try to share this here. I put it all into a Canva document, and so this actually is a great platform because also it allows audio. And some of the students who had sent me audio over the WhatsApp, I managed to put it up here as well. I don't know if this is going to come through, but
so it was evening. There was power cut. Mom was out, so I was alone with my brothers. We had lit the torch and we were discussing everything and nothing, when suddenly we heard an unusual noise. We were already starting to be afraid, and we were right.
Okay, so that was an example. And then I put their stories, their poems, things that they had sent me, and then was able to share it with them either via email or via WhatsApp. So they had a record, and they could also see the work from their colleagues in other parts of the country. So that's it. That's all for me. Thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me to participate. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Kristen. Wow, another example of such inspiring work, and I think it's really, really beautiful that you have found ways to successfully engage your students, even in under conditions that are so challenging. And I think it's great that, as you said, WhatsApp is one of the means to use, one of the main platforms to use to communicate. And I love that you've used Canva for the students to record their stories, and it sounds like they were very personal stories from Goma. So thank you again. Truly, all 3 of you are so inspiring in so many ways, and you have had such an impact on your communities. So a huge thank you. So there are some questions for from the audience. There's one actually from Facebook, and it's a little bit, kind of general, so I guess we can, I can ask, it's from someone from Gabon who teaches in a military academy. We like documents dealing with English. How can you help? That's kind of a general question, but perhaps, I guess it sounds like it's more ESP, English for specific purposes, and it sounds like, how would you handle doing, teaching ESP in that context? And so any one of you would like to answer that kind of general question?
Go
ahead, Loveline. Yes, please.
I didn't get his question well. I don't really understand.
Yes, I think it's more of a question. I think it sounds like there are limited resources. So it sounds like access to resources that would be relevant. What would you recommend that teachers do if they wanted to research? Because I know we have access to the internet, there are a lot of resources, but we don't know where to look. So what are some perhaps websites or places that you would recommend?
Okay.
Go ahead, Lovely. Go ahead.
I was momentarily cut off because of internet, sorry. So while she was explaining the question, I was momentarily cut off.
So I can explain again. What are some resources or websites that you would recommend to teachers that you found particularly helpful, especially limited resources context?
Okay. For accessing of resources online, because I teach different levels of students, I have, first of all, I have my textbooks, like I teach IELTS. Students who are preparing for IELTS, I have textbooks which are soft copies that I use, and then the British Council. It's also another, it's a site where I get resources from. The American English for Educators, I use that too a lot. I try to get what they are doing and then adapt it to my classroom. I customize it. I don't just do copy and paste. Like if I want to teach a grammar lesson, I can go online and then I look at how others have done it and then I customize it to my classroom. That's what I generally do. Or sometimes I can go to YouTube and see what's being done on Pinterest and see what people have presented on Pinterest on a particular topic. That gives me a guideline on how to go about presenting my own lesson for my students. So I use different resources, but generally the American English for Educators website, the British Council website, those are my go-to website, and then the IELTS website as well. Those are my go-to websites where I get information from, and then I can go to YouTube, go to Pinterest, and just roam around if I want to teach something and I need to see how others have presented it as well. That's what I do. I don't know if I've answered this question.
Yo, you have. That's great. Yes, thank you so much. And they've been some of them have been posted in the chat. Yes, Kristen and Dave.
Yeah, for me, to have some resources, you have to join the programs. As I said, so for example, if I take my example, in the holidays, 3 month holidays, I spend all my holidays attending the open program with the US. Open online programs. And before the end of the program, we have many resources that can help you. And the other is, as Loveline said, to join program from the British Council because they are here. The reader is for us, and the British Council also is for teachers. So you join the programs, and then they will equip you with some websites, many things. You can find many things from these websites. So as a teacher, don't stay like not doing anything. You have to go toward the information. So don't stay, nothing will come at your place to say, take me, I'm Marisa, or I'm here. No, you go toward the information. Join the programs. There are many resources. And there are resources that we know here, like Google is pronunciation. To teach listening, you have some resources. But in order to have more, you join the programs, and then you will discover. You will learn, and then you will discover. I'm sorry because I'm with some.
No worries, we understand.
Thank you so much. Join the programs, and yes, you will have resources, and you will teach. You will improve the way you teach. You will enrich your lesson. Yes, that's it. Thank you so much. Sorry.
Go ahead, Kristen. Yes.
To answer the question about resources, I think it's kind of like a day-to-day thing with me. I'm always looking for resources.
Exactly.
And, you know, as the others are saying, there are a lot of resources online, and there are sort of the big ones like the British Council, like you mentioned. But I think it's just a constant search, and there's things coming up every day, new things. I like to, when students are at an advanced enough level, I like to use authentic resources and then kind of adapt them. One thing I find myself always telling students about is TED Talks, because sometimes they really want listening practice, and that's one of the hardest things I think to find and be able to then give students access to outside of like just a course book. But TED Talks are a great resource, and then they can also read the transcripts, and they can pick any topic they're interested in, any length, and some of the TED Talks actually have you know, like an educational sort of page, or you can create resources as well with the TED Talk. So that's a suggestion, but I think it's just a day-to-day sort of endless search for resources. It's part of the territory as a teacher.
Thank you so much. Thank you for those great answers, and that we see in the chat there are a lot of different resources that have been shared. All right, there are two questions that are similar that people have asked from Pierre and Faith. It is, and that is, how do you, what are some strategies one can use to ensure that learners don't lose focus on online lessons? And then Pierre's was, how do you manage discipline? So I think it's a little bit similar, like how do you keep them motivated online? Since we know that during COVID, it was